Hey guys, we're gonna try this again. I think I am live, is my understanding. Um, so we're, I guess we're gonna see about that. Um, I'm gonna see if I can share this link. I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna try to share this link. There we go. Here we go, guys. I think I got it. So let's try this again. All right, so we're gonna give this a shot. Hopefully this works. Hopefully it's not too glitchy. My computer is not the best, so I don't know. I guess we'll see if this ends up working or not, or if it's just a little too wonky for you. We're gonna see. I believe I can take comments or something and questions. So if anyone's got comments or questions or whatever, throw them in there, and then we'll see if that works. I guess this should be fun. I like new things. So what you should be seeing on your screen, I'm pointing like you can actually see like what I'm pointing to. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to do it anyway. So what you're looking at is Game Pass. This is that's the Game Pass interface. So if you decided to try out the free version, or I guess the free trial, I think they're doing a 30-day free trial during this COVID-19 stuff. This is what you'll be seeing. So it always defaults to usually like the last game, the latest week, or if you're in the middle of the week, it'll go to the next one. That's boring. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I'm just going to kind of walk through a couple things. When you go on a play here or a game, it'll give you your options. You get your full replay, which is the full game, condensed, which is condensed, listen, which is radio, or coach's film. Coach's film is what we want. Now, I'm not going to walk through all the Game Pass stuff because that's boring and that's not what you're here for. So if anyone is here, I don't know if anyone's here. But what we are going to do is we're going to look at a single play that I kind of came across as I was looking at stuff for the Devin Funchess signing. So we are going to take a look at that. So what you have up here, you have your games. You know, you can search by year, by week, all that stuff. But they also have a really, really cool search feature. I love this about Game Pass. So if you're looking for, say, Devin Funchess, which I am looking at, and I know he didn't really play much last year. And actually, the one I'm looking for, I know, is an incomplete pass. But you can choose anything you want here. I'm going to go incomplete pass. I'm going to look at. I usually just select the weeks just because, as you can see, preseason's in here. I don't care about preseason, man. No one cares about preseason, except sometimes I do. But I don't care about that. So I'm looking at all of the 2018 season because I know that this specific play, because I've already looked at this, this specific play happened in 2018 because he only played like 30 snaps or something in 2019. So this is when the Packers signed Funchess. This was like the first thing I did was just, okay, how did he look? Because, I knew him a little in Michigan. I knew him a little in Carolina with Cam Newton. But I hadn't really followed his career that closely because I'm not a Panthers fan. And then I kind of wanted to see what he looked like. I knew he was a big guy. I knew he had trouble with hands. But I just really wanted to see kind of how this was going to look or maybe what he was going to do. So this is now again the purpose of me doing this is to kind of show what you can do with Game Pass, but also just how much stuff is going on in the game. So if you're looking at something and like, oh well, that was a bad play because of this and this, well, it's really easy to kind of look at the film and you can kind of see that, but unless it's repetition. I wish there was an easier way to do it. It's repetition, man. You're looking at the same thing over and over and over again, and eventually something clicks, or eventually some of the stuff starts to make sense. Something looks familiar that you've seen before. Something that you've read or something you've seen in a game. You're like, oh, that looks familiar, and I know that probably this is how it's supposed to look. It's really easy to jump on and just go, this was a bad play because it was incomplete. But that's not, when we're doing this, this is not what we're looking at, or at least I'm not looking at. I'm looking at process. I'm looking at, why did the play end like it did? I don't care at all about judging specific play. What I'm doing now, I care about scheme. I care about looking at specific scheme. I don't care about, well, this guy was bad. That doesn't matter. But a lot of people do, and that's fine. There's a lot of people doing really good stuff as far as like judging players and stuff, and that's totally cool for them. That's just not my bag. And so when I look at this stuff, I'm less looking at what did this guy do that was good or what did this guy do that was bad, and more why did this play work or why didn't this work. And there's sometimes you'll see a bad scheme or a bad thought process that ends up with a good result. But that's not necessarily good, even if it ends up in a big play, because that's not repeatable. And other times you'll see something that's a really good idea, something that's really, really cool, but it doesn't work. And that doesn't mean that's bad. That just means maybe they ran up against a perfect defense, or execution was slightly off. A guy misses a block. A ton of different things happen. So I'm less concerned about the good, the bad, who did what, and more the idea behind it, I guess, or just trying to figure out why I played it in a certain way. So what we're going to look at today, this one play, this was week 16 of the 2018 season. Again, I found this looking up Devin Funchess stuff. I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick so I can already feel my voice starting to go. I apologize. So you can see right here, and it's got the little thing here. It says no huddle, shotgun, Tyler Heinicke, pass incomplete, short right to Devin Funchess. So we know already this is going to be short right Devin Funchess. We know who the quarterback is. And when I first saw this play, the reason I picked this one out is because when I first saw this play, I was like, oh, like no wonder Devin Funchess has a bad catch rate, right? Because he's playing with terrible quarterbacks. So I want to show you that portion of it first, and then kind of what else might be happening. I'm always trying to figure out, what else might be happening. So you click on that little thing right there, and that's going to take you here. Now, I'm going to skip ahead because I want to, but we're going to get back to it. So you get the two views in the L22. This is the secondary view. This is the behind the end zone. You get to see the line play. So you'll see why I want to show this, because it's kind of funny. So he's going to drop back. You'll see Funchess coming over here, and the ball is thrown way far behind Funchess, like comically far. I legitimately laughed the first time I saw it. It's like, well, that's a bad throw. That's a terrible throw, right? Like, no wonder, again, like catch rate is based on targets and catches, and I try to use catch rate quite a bit because it does kind of tell a story, but it doesn't tell the whole story, because if you throw the ball away 10 yards out of bounds in a guy's general vicinity, a lot of times the target is racked up to that guy, but that was not that guy's fault that he did not catch it. So here I'm looking at, okay, well, Funchess didn't have a shot at that ball, right? I mean, you all saw it. Let's just watch that sucker again real quick, just so you can see Funchess crossing now that we've seen it, right? That ball's way far behind Funchess. Now, maybe that's a bad throw. And maybe it's not. So we're going to go back to the front. So this is the all-22 angle here. So this is where you get to see everything. So I'm going to pause this real quick. Actually, I'll make this bigger. I don't know why this wasn't bigger to begin with. So Funchess is going to be here. You can tell because he is a large man, and he's going to be running. He's running this way, I believe, and we'll see here. I haven't looked at this enough before we started going. I probably should have. You've got a little like dual drag kind of mesh action here to kind of knock a guy off, or widen the zone, kind of, so that maybe you hit something in the middle. Usually you have something over the top. That's a little deeper than we want to talk about right now. But that's what we're going to be seeing is these two receivers kind of dragging over the middle across each other. And we'll see it again, and I'm going to run it back because by process as I watch this a bunch. You can see him crossing, and you can see him right here, right? You see Heinicke, you can see he's getting ready to throw the ball, and you can see they're crossing here. They've got this cross. Now, you've got this man here. At this point, I'm looking at this is, this is 1st and 10. I don't really know what the situation of the game is. Situation of the game is generally very, very important when you're looking at this stuff, because what looks like, oh, this is a 12-yard gain, this is a really cool design. Well, it's 3rd and 20, like that doesn't matter. They're giving the stuff up underneath. So that's something that I usually do that I'm not doing now. I thought this play was interesting and kind of illustrated a certain point I wanted to get at. So again, Heinicke's here. Heinicke. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm saying that wrong. He's getting ready to throw, and Funchess is crossing here. So again, we'll run it. Bam, way far behind him, right? He falls down. Again, comically short. That's ridiculous. So it's still, when you're still looking at this still kind of looks like a bad play. This looks like Funchess didn't have a shot at that. And I don't necessarily knock Funchess for that if I'm looking at this at a very, very high level. I'm not knocking Funchess for that because that's a bad throw. You can easily chalk that up to a bad throw. However, we're going to look at this, and you look a little deeper, and you start thinking about this stuff a little more, and the more stuff you see, some of this stuff starts to kind of click, starts to make a little more sense. So let's run it back. We're going to look at this again. Again, Funchess crossing. There's no one over here. You can see this heavy line. So this is another thing that we'll kind of get into a little bit. Not a whole lot, but you're looking at the line, you're looking at the linebackers, you're looking at the safeties. Generally, first movement of safeties will tell you a lot. And then also the line, like you got this here, it's this real heavy front. A lot of times you'll see a lot of this is not new, but you're seeing more and more teams do this as kind of fake mug front, where you're looking at, you got these sneaking up these guys at the line, usually sneaking up in the A gap over the center, and then you drop back. And what that does, that it doesn't allow the quarterback to necessarily feel all that comfortable, because you not only do not know where pressure is, but pressure could be coming up the middle. And so you're looking at, maybe a hot read, maybe that's a slant over the middle, but then if suddenly this guy drops out and you have time, that internal clock in the quarterback's mind is still ticking. So we're looking at all of that stuff. You're looking at safety. You're looking at first movement of the safety. You're looking at the lineup here. You're looking at what these guys, in the middle do. I wasn't paying close enough attention to them the first time, so we'll look at them again. You can also see here, down here, you can see that cushion that man is being given. How does that play in? You can kind of see the off alignment there. You can kind of start to read a little bit maybe what the defense is going to do. Maybe hope you can tell what the defense is going to do. General defensive shell, just based on what you have here. So this right now, I mean, if you're just looking at it now, this man, maybe he's going to blitz, maybe he's going to drop back. But this looks like, if you get this angle, you see how this guy here is kind of angled. You got these two high here. This guy's kind of, looking but angled. It's the line of sight. You're looking at line of sight. And so this dude here, and I'm looking at that screen, so I'm not looking at you. I apologize. I'm sure you're lovely. You can see his line of sight's at the quarterback. And so that's a zone look. If you're kind of faced up over a man, that's definitely a man. If you kind of got that angle there and you're looking at the quarterback, zone look. I'm probably getting a little too deep. I apologize. I can't help it. But all this stuff is important. All of what are the corners doing, what are the safeties doing, all this stuff is important. And you don't really pick up on all this stuff until you watch these plays over and over again. Because again, I mean, I just pointed out the line, these linebackers, these corners, and these safeties. Now, to me, this looks like this could be a blitz with a cover 4 or a quarter shell in the back, with this guy taking a quarter, this guy taking a quarter, this guy taking a quarter, that guy taking a quarter. Now, that's kind of how that looks right now, but there's so many moving pieces. This guy is kind of playing down. Maybe he sneaks down. That's cover 3 robber, or this guy mans up, or this guy drops off and he has a soft zone in the middle. There's so many moving pieces that unless you rewatch these over and over again, you just don't pick up on. So again, keeping with Funchess, the focus of what we're talking about right now, we're looking at Funchess. We're looking at Funchess on this drag, underthrown by his quarterback. Was that a bad throw? We're going to run this back again. I do this a ton. So you're looking at the release. And what do we see? We see this dude right here, and they're looking at a zone. Like I said, it looked like quarters the way this was going, and now that I'm looking at it, this looks kind of more cover 3 shell with some man stuff. He's covering him up the seam, but this guy's dropping down, and this becomes very important here in a second. If this is quarters, this dude kind of fans out a little bit here, and this dude fans out a little bit here. I believe you can see my cursor, but instead this guy's dropping down. So instead of a quarters look, this is a cover 3 shell. There's a whole bunch of defensive coverages. I don't really know specifics, so I talk in generalities when I talk defensive coverages. So if I see 3 deep zone, which this looks like here, I'm calling that a cover 3 shell. That's probably not technically correct. There's a ton of variations on those. That's what I do for the sake of simplicity. And then instead of this guy here dropping back, he comes forward. So this is like a cover 3 shell with a robber. So this guy's coming down. Again, that guy there, going to be super, super important to the Funchess thing. So you can see this guy here dropping off wide. So you get this mesh look here, and what will happen if this is in zone, you'll get the guys that are picking up these guys on either side drop off coverage, essentially pass off coverage before it gets chaotic, before this cross in the middle. Awesome. Thank you, Brett. And then they'll drop off wide to kind of pick up these drags on the other side. So all that's very important. So now we will look at that again, because we see this guy coming down. And with this guy is coming down, you can see the quarterback kind of looking at him. And what this is telling the quarterback, at least I believe, pretty much everything that I talk about, everything I write, I view as my interpretation. Again, I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in these offensive meetings. I can't say with 100% certainty on a lot of this exactly what each party was supposed to do. That's what it gets back to, kind of the judgment of it. I'm not here to say this guy did bad, this guy did good. I'm here to kind of say this looks like this is probably what happened, just based on what I've seen and based on how offenses and defenses generally react. So quarterback is seeing this guy here. He sees him coming down right here. This guy is picking up this guy on the other side. So how this looks to me, this robber who is coming down here. You've got this man carrying him up the seam, which means his responsibility appears to be this hook zone right here, which is this drag coming across. So the quarterback sees this guy coming across. Funchess doesn't. You can see Funchess kind of looking down. You can see kind of Funchess looking ahead. Now, what I believe should happen, we've already seen this play. We've seen the throw behind, so we know what the end result is. But how this looks to me, and we'll run the rest of it here in a second, is this certainly looks a lot like quarterback reading this man, assuming Funchess is going to sit down in a zone. Because if you sit down in a zone, you stop before this man comes. If you continue across and this dude's coming, that's a full head-on collision right there. So you're trying to avoid that. And so that's some of the differences in the coverages. So the quarterback is reading one thing, the receiver is reading another thing, or just simply not seeing it, not on the same page, not on the same vision, anything like that. And so that's what we have. So you can kind of see that guy. You could see that safety, and let's run that little section back here in a second, and we're gonna watch him. We're gonna watch Funchess, and picture Funchess stopping here as opposed to running through. If he stops here, that's where he's throwing, and we're gonna watch the other angle here in a second. It looks like he's throwing here, believing Funchess is gonna settle down on his own because this dude's firing down. So we're gonna watch him fire down. Fires down, ball's behind. Now again, we're gonna watch the other angle, and we just went through the wide angle, and so some of this should make a little more sense. So again, Funchess is going to be coming from your left side of the screen, come over here, and now we can view this play through kind of fresh set of eyes here. So you can't really see it too much from that angle, but from there it looks like Funchess is underthrown. It looks like, but we just saw everything else. And so that's what I'm saying when I don't necessarily like to pass judgment on this stuff. I'm looking at scheme, but when you're talking about scheme, you're looking at that stuff, you've seen all of this stuff before. You've seen a lot of this stuff before. And when you've got that guy kind of firing down from this angle here and the quarterback is looking over there, I'm not saying that Funchess needed to sit down there, but I'm saying it looks a lot more likely that Funchess should have sat down there as opposed to the quarterback just underthrowing a guy. So when you see something, again, kind of going back to my original point, when you see something on TV, or even if you were going through this and you've never done coach's film before at all, and you're where I was 6 years ago or whatever the devil it was, and I had no idea what I was doing, I'm just looking at this stuff going, I want to learn more about the game. Watch everything, because the first time you watch this play, this looks like an underthrow by the quarterback, if you're just kind of watching it. But if you sit and watch this as we just did, and we went through this probably 3 or 4 times from that wide angle, and we could go through it more just to see what every single piece is doing. But if you watch this enough, you watch every single play, it's not always as simple. Sometimes it is. It's not always as simple as a quarterback underthrowing, overthrowing a guy. A lot of times it's safety sneaks up and the wide receiver goes over the top and the quarterback thinks he's cutting across on a dig, and it just and so you get those cross wires sometimes. Football's complicated, man. I don't know if you heard, football's complicated. So there's a whole bunch of moving pieces. That's just one play. That's one play. That's the only one I'm going to go through tonight. I may do this again. We'll see. I'm not sure how this is going. If anyone is out there that has any questions or anything about this or about any of this stuff in general, feel free to hit it up in the chat. It looks like the chat is working, which is amazing. So if you've got that, hit me up. I'll sit here for a couple minutes and answer any questions, I guess. And if you don't, I'll bow out. But I hope this was you learned a little something, or at least kind of what I'm looking for when I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at it just from offensive passing perspective, that this is kind of what I'm doing. I'm looking at what are the routes doing? What are the routes trying to do? Do they accomplish that? And what may have gone right or what may have gone wrong or something. So thank you, Brett. I also think this was cool. So yeah, if you've got again, I've done some other videos. I've got a YouTube channel up that I've done some other just kind of breakdown videos on. If you want to see those, everyone's kind of bored right now, I think. So I was hoping to do something a little more interactive. Probably doing this after midnight was probably not the best idea. So maybe I'll do this again with another play or just another tutorial or something. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, you can always hit me up. Just ask me these questions, ask me to clarify any of this stuff. This video will be posted. You can comment on the video, and I'll try to keep up with all of this stuff as well. So yeah, thank you so much, the handful of you that were here. Truly appreciate you joining me at this late hour to just kind of walk through a play and kind of allow me to ramble a little bit about my general overall process and what I'm looking for, what I'm not looking for, kind of all the moving pieces. So if you are going to, if you do want to dig into the game film a little bit more with Game Pass being free, highly recommend it. Just the other thing I would just highly recommend is when you go in knowing that you don't know much. I go into every game knowing that I don't know much. Every year, I feel like I learn a little bit more about football, but I also feel like I know less than I did before. It's just there's so much going on. It's such a complicated game. So just you go in, keep an open mind. Try not to go in with any preconceived notions. Go in again. Find a play that you like from the past 10 years. Find a quarter, find a game, find something that you know well, and then try to go into it with a fresh perspective and open eyes, and just try to see. Okay, I'm not trying to say this was good or this was bad. I just want to know why this happened, because you'll find any given play there's 1,000 different things that happen. There's 1,000 different things that lead to the end result, and some of those are good and some of those are bad. So just go into every single play. That's how I approach this. I go into every single play. I don't really care if someone did something good or bad. I care about how it ended up happening and what the thought process behind that was more than anything. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me at this late hour. I truly appreciate it. Maybe I will do another one of these in the future. We shall see. Until then, yeah, just hit me up if you got questions. And hey, guys, go Pack Go. Be